Hi, it's T with Teaquilts and 8:57 p.m. We're going to start the live sew and chat at 9 p.m. Just came in early so people can get their notifications. If you're watching this at any other time other than the 15 people that are already here in the chat room waiting, just know that you're watching an upload of a live chat and you can't comment in the chat, but you can comment in the comment section. So we're just going to wait for people to get in. I just came in a little early today. I actually am about to machine embroider a label I need for a quilt. So that's what I'm currently working on. Nope. All right, got that started. Pull this up on my phone. All right, so we're just gonna wait for people to get in or wait till 9 p.m. Okay, I think my husband got that. I'm surprised he hardly ever answers the phone. So we've got people that started at 8 o'clock tonight commenting, waiting for the chat to start. Let me see if I can turn this over, see less of the basket. Just because it takes up so much space when it shows. At 8:01 we had Elaine Doucette saying hello early birds. She said must say hello, thumbs up, and 99 spent the day 8 hours plus making tomato sauce. Old Italian way outdoors. Maddie says hello T and everyone. Susan T says hi T and everyone. Sewing and waiting for sew and chat to start. Wind Sprinter says hello from Maryland. I don't even know if these people are still in the chat room, but I'm reading them anyway. Yogi Castillo says hello, hi beautiful and all. Beautiful quilting ladies. Vivian Cavey says hi T and everyone. Robin Boyd says good evening T and everyone in this wonderful community. Teresa Louise I Quilt too was here early. Mario Dennis says hello from Montreal. Thumbs is up. Thank you so much, Mario. Sheila Willis is here saying good evening T and all quilters. Janice Wyatt says hi T and everyone else. Don Cunningham says hello T and fellow quilters. Mary is here saying hi everybody. Lisa Peck says hey early birds, Miss T. Robin saying hello to people. Michelle Power is here, says hi T. Susan T saying hi to Mary. Cynthia Shade says good evening to all from Chicago. Patricia Bryan says glad to be able to make the live show tonight. Happy sewing all. Cheryl Bean says hi T and everyone. Elwin McGaw says greetings from hot Las Vegas. that's funny. My daughter and my niece, and I guess a group of them are going to Las Vegas, I think next weekend, I'm thinking. I don't know. Let's see. Gramps is here saying hello, T and everyone. And Mary's asking how's everyone. It's hot here in Kansas. Judy is here saying hello, Teaquilters. Diana Nelson is here saying hi, T. Pamela Robertson is here saying hi, T and everyone. Sue is here, says just checking in while I put on a binding. How are you all doing? How are you all doing? How are y'all doing? Let me correct that. Carol Green says hi, T and everyone. Nisima's here saying hey, T and everybody. Janet Mackerel says hello, T and all quilters. And Sandra Edgar says hello, T and everyone from California. A lot of people are saying hi. Susan says, I'm here, T. Yeah, because she was one of the way early birds. Linda Price says hi from Lambertville, Michigan. Teresa McCormick saying hello, T and everybody. When Sprinter says, I'm still here. Patricia Bryan is Capital City, Topeka. That's Mary. She's responding to Mary. Sorry about that. Maria Mayer says hello, everyone. Leah Bryan is here. She says hi, T and T Quilters. Deanna J says hello, T and everybody. June Hansen's also here, says hi, T and everyone. Diane 57 is here saying hi, everyone. Lisa says, T, how many blocks do you have now? Last week, Lisa, I had my 100 blocks. I sold about 20 something blocks in a week because I got tired of looking at them and I just wanted them done. So last week I had 26 pairs that I sold, 26 blocks that 26 sets. So I guess it was 52 blocks that I sold into pairs. And I pressed those. They're like that. So I pressed those seams and I haven't done anything else. So I've got the 24 remaining, well, 48 remaining blocks that I need to sew into pairs. So I'm in what I call reduction mode, where when you start with 100 and then you sew them into pairs and you have 50. So I'm in the reduction mode, and this is a great place to be. When you start with something that has 3,700 pieces, then it is great when you start getting into the reduction mode. So I have 100 blocks and I'm now sewing them into pairs. So I feel really good about where I'm at. The great thing about this is I made the 100 blocks. I'm not doing any borders or anything like that. That's why I wanted 100 blocks. So once I get these blocks sewn into a quilt top, then I'm ready for machine quilting, which is going to be the fun part. So let's see. Diane says my alarm went off telling me it was tea time. Sharon Lewis is here, says hi, T and everyone from Washington, D.C. Welcome, Sharon Lewis. Woohoo, T, way to go. Wow, that's from Lisa, who asked about how many blocks I had. Let's see. Don says, what size will this quilt be? It's going to be 100 by 100. Kathleen Champ says, hi, T at T Quilts. Hi, Kathleen. Welcome. And Claudette Bettis is here. She says, hi, T and everyone. Graham says, any quilters in Shreveport, Bossier, Louisiana area? And I think that's it. So I've already given an update on what I did last week. I'm also trying to get a quilt label made back here. I normally just make them in one color. I just got one part I'm going to need to change out the thread on. So yeah, it's just, I do very basic labels just to get them done. A label is better, a simple label is better than no label at all. So I'm hoping that you all can still hear me over this machine going. If you can't, let me know and then I'll just cut it off. And Mary is asking, T, is that one for your bed? Yes, but first it's going to go into quilt lectures. That's what I'm making it for, because I'm developing a pineapple quilt quilt lecture. Patricia Bryan says, T, it's my first day since Monday that I've been able to do any sewing, dealing with vertigo. Hope everyone has had time to be creative and sew. Yeah, hope you're feeling better. I know that's kind of hard when I think that's where you're dizzy most of the time if you get up or something. So hope you're feeling better. Vicky Lemire is here saying hello. So yeah. So all I have, Lisa says we should, oh, she's talking to Kathleen. I'm going to read comments where they're talking to other people. So basically, I'm just sewing blocks into pairs, which is a great place to be. So I'll come back to chat. Let me see where I left off. And Patricia saying, today I'm almost 100% back to normal, so that's really good. And Vicky also says prayers for Tiffany. She's not feeling well, so prayers for Tiffany as well. And then I'll come back in the comment section in a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and do some sewing here, sew some pairs. Let's see, what have I been up to since Wednesday, I guess? Working on orders for the most part. I quilted a quilt for me. That's why I'm making a label. And then I have a customer quilt that I've had for a while that I had quilted, and it had some issues with some tension in a certain spot. Sometimes when you're long arm quilting, you change your bobbin, and sometimes your machine will act up. It may not accept that bobbin even though you've inserted it correctly, because there's only really one way to insert it, and I know I always listen for the click. But for some reason, the bobbin in this particular area of the quilt just made a hot mess, and I didn't catch it. And so she had given it back to me, but it was some quilts that she didn't know exactly who was going to get them, where they're going. So they were not any kind of rush quilt. She was just getting them done because I had space open. I decided today to take it apart. At first, I was going to take apart, you know, she had like various pins in the different areas, and when the first one I did, I took it out and then I restitched that area. And then I realized that it was basically the whole row almost. So I just sat down and took out that entire row, and then I went back and reprogrammed it into my computer. Instead of me freehand doing it, I just let the computer restitch it. So I just got a couple of spots I need to pull the threads through, tie a knot, and then pull the threads through. And then I also have, I want to like spray wet it to get the other stitching lines out. But I did get most of it finished today. I should get it completed tomorrow for sure. So, yeah. I hate seam rippers. I do not like using them. Mario says, T, I love those colors, right up my alley. Thank you so much. Vivian says, T, I have all my pineapple squares done. Woohoo! That's like a party, girl, when you finally get them done. And Mary says, that machine is really loud, so I can cut it down, or stop it, rather. I can stop that. June says prayers for Tiffany. Lisa says, and also for Diane. And Michael says, what's up, pretty girl? Miss you. Hi, Mike. How are you? And Cheryl says, prayers and hugs for Tiffany. Diane says, yes, and you can pray for more than one person, Diane. We can definitely pray for more than one person. So yes. I need to bring that embroidery machine over this way and do a cleaning on it. I haven't done a cleaning on that machine in a minute, but I haven't done any big projects on it. It's just been making labels here and there, but I still need to go ahead and do a good cleaning on it. So I'm glad I'm at this point. That I can truly say. Once you start making these blocks, well, I think I got through. I think the original pattern is like 36 blocks. And I got through those pretty fast. But it was as I kept adding on. First I thought I was going to do 80 and put a border on it. Then I go, well, I really don't want a border. So then I increased it to 100. It seemed like it took me forever to make these blocks, but I was only making them initially when I was sewing on Saturdays with you guys, since it was a sew and chat project. But the last like 2 weeks or so, I had started sewing almost every day on them a little bit just to get them done. I wanted them done, otherwise I felt like it wasn't going to get done. So now I have you all as motivation for me to finish it. Because at this point, I would have normally put these blocks into a UFO container. So I have you guys to keep me motivated here to keep going. So get this part done. So if I don't do anything but sew these into pairs, I'm happy. So we'll do that during this 2 hours, and then I'll spend some time and press them open on my time, I guess. I have the other sets back there that I could start sewing into 4s. And at this point, I have not laid these blocks out. So I'm just trying to make sure that no fabrics, no light fabrics are touching when I sew block to block. So when you use a lot of scrap fabrics in your quilts, it's a lot easier for me to just make a quilt top without having to lay it out. I may sew these into giant blocks or great blocks, and then I might lay those blocks out, maybe. We'll see. Because I will have to go outside and use my deck for something like this big. And then I have to make sure it's not a windy day. Or too hot. You know, lots of variables. So let's see who else has come in. Let's see. T, when are you starting the Cleopatra fan block? I got to finish this one first, so I can't start that one until I finish this one. So I don't have a start date yet. But I know that a lot of people got it when they got the fan block for free. And if you've already done it, by the time I get there, maybe you can give me some tips, because I've never sewn that block. So if you want to start, you can go ahead if you all got it. But I'm thinking probably at least another 3 weeks to a month, maybe. I don't know. It just depends on how fast I get this sewed into a quilt top. And then I wanted to do a little small project before so that instead of going into something so hard, I wanted to do something real simple, and maybe you all could do a sew along with me on that, and then have a lot more people involved in that. And it's real easy. I'm not going to tell you what it is because I don't want people to go jump and do it. So That's another thing. I want to do another project before I do the Cleopatra, so it could be like a month or so before that one. But if you've got the dye and want to go ahead and do it, that's just great. That question was from Jackie K. LaConte Middleton is here. Says, good evening, everyone. Francesca Fino is here. She says, hello, T and Teaquilts. Susan says she's putting a quilt together, trying to convince myself that I actually like to put borders on. I don't mind borders. It's just that sometimes I want to make like certain antique-ish look or style of quilt. Not that mine's are going to look antique, but they didn't put borders on a lot of those type quilts. So sometimes I like to do quilts without borders. I got a border on this quilt. I'm going to put a border on the other pineapple blocks that I have. And this one, I just wanted to not put a border on. So that's why I wanted so many blocks. Marcia is here saying, good evening, T and everyone. Listening to T while ironing my 1-inch half square triangles. Halfway through, 630 of them. Well, that's awesome. I like small half square triangles. And Mary saying the machine didn't bother her. Marcia, Susan's talking to Marcia. Yep, quarantine crazy here. My brother is here. He said, hey sis, I'm here. He says hi to everyone. Vicky says, I got the stairway cleaned out. Now I can paint it and put all the stuff back. Patricia says, yes, prayers for Tiffany and everyone that's dealing with issues due to COVID. Life seems hard, but my sewing room helps me stay sane. Exactly, that's how I feel. Vivian says, I'm going to put two waters on my pineapple quilt. I'm thinking I'm missing something, Vivian. 2 waters. I don't know. Sometimes the keypad helps us out when we don't want to be helping out. And Francesca is asking me, what am I using for backing? I have absolutely no idea, but I'm probably just going to cheat and just use a quilt back. I got plenty of them. And I have no idea yet. I'm not even sure what color thread I'm going to quilt this with yet, or how I'm going to quilt it. I have no idea. I don't know if I just want to just get it done and do it all over Panto, or if I want to do custom quilting in the light areas, which this quilt kind of screams for. Having some custom areas. So I have no idea. I work on one part at a time. I figure I can't do anything about it until I get there, but I'm most definitely probably am going to use a quilt back. I got so many seams that I don't feel like piecing anything for this, and then I got enough seams in these blocks that they could interfere with anything I put in the back, so just a quilt back. I got all kinds of colors, a quilt back, so I have no idea. And it might be the one I can get to the easiest. You know, I got some on a shelf in a closet. And then I got some in a china cabinet. The china cabinet will probably be the one that'd be easier to get to. So I might do those. Who knows? And it will, I know it's going to have black binding. I do know that. But I don't think I'm using black thread anywhere. So, have no clue. I need to edit videos. I realize that I haven't put out July finishes, nor have I done August finishes. And I even have some other videos that I had recorded that never got edited either. So I need to do some editing. It's a lot. I counted to, well, I didn't count. I have a program that keeps track of my quilt projects if I put them in there, you know. Sometimes I forget to put them in there, but it's still telling me that I have 36 quilt tops that are ready for quilting. So before the pandemic, I had over 50 that needed quilting, and then think about all the ones that I've completed from start to finish, like the pineapple back here. I did that purple quilt, which was a large bed-size quilt. I did the mini quilt, that was a customer's quilt. There was something else that I started from start to finish. I can't remember which one it is, but I've been pretty busy. I have 47 things that I have done already this year, and that's not including the mini albums that I did, probably 25 or more mini albums, probably close to 30. So I just count like one mini album for the whole 30. So I've been pretty busy this year, gotten a lot done. So I'm checking things off my list. It's just that my list keeps growing. And that's why I don't want to start the Cleopatra until I get this pieced into a top. If I start something else, this quilt will not get pieced into a top. And what's nice about this is once it's pieced, I'm done. So I want to just keep going. So I'll stop here for a minute and read some more comments. Just pop them back there. Let's see. Scroll back a little bit. Let's see. Vivian says, what is borders? Oh, she's saying she's going to put 2 borders on her pineapple quilt. Okay. I'm like, huh? And Diane's helping me out. She says, I think she means borders. Yeah. Susan says, going to ask hubby for early Christmas present, 2 studio dies, half off now. Want Cleopatra and pineapple dies. Wish me luck. Christmas in September. Got that right. That's the best time to get them if you can get them half off. And I usually buy studio dies, but since they were giving me the Cleopatra one on the go side for free, I just went ahead and got it for free. But that's what I generally like to buy, is studio dies, because I can cut more layers out. Vanessa Brown says, hello TNT Quilters from Fayetteville, Georgia. Welcome, Vanessa. Appreciate you stopping in. Carrie Dottie says, hello T and everyone else. I have missed being a part of watching T live since early May due to health issues. I am from Corpus Christi, Texas. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better and you're back. Let's see. Carrie says, I love the pineapple quilt behind you and the one you're making. That's the first one that I did when I first started doing the extra Saturday sewing chats for doing COVID. And so I then started working on this second one, but then I put a pause to it and started working on the one that Guyleen Fitzgerald does with her ruler. So I did 48 blocks, and then once I got my blocks done, I stopped so that I could come back and finish Pineapple Quilt number 2 instead of finishing Pineapple Quilt 3 first. So I'm working on a total of 3 Pineapple Quilts. So that's kind of why I'm not starting with this Cleopatra thing yet. And on the one for Guyleen, I think I want to put sashing in between, but I might hold off piecing that one until after Cleopatra, just because people are ready to do that. But then I'll have to come back and finish that off. So let's see. Ellen says, hi T and quilting friends. How is everyone tonight? I got blessed to get a pineapple quilt today. Yay me. Well, ain't that awesome? That is truly awesome. Don says, will you press with an iron the seams between the two squares now, or just use wooden press and wait until the row is finished? I am going to be pressing with a heated iron at this point from now on out. And if I didn't want to like go in there, I guess I could, but I just want to keep everything nice and flat as I'm going. So I'm going to make sure that I use a heated iron at this point. They're so big. These blocks are huge. Dee Dee says, here from southwestern Michigan. Hey, Miss Dee Dee. And Jada Smith says, hi, T and everyone. I hope all is well. Completed my t-shirt, and it came out nice. Loving it. Black History theme. Earlene from Wisconsin. Well, Earlene, are you doing a t-shirt quilt? Or are you just doing a t-shirt? And if you're doing a t-shirt quilt, share it in Teaquilts group. We'd love to see it. Wild T, I have not done any sewing since early May. Well, I've been busy. I have been super busy. I had somebody contact me like right before the virus was like where they start shutting stuff down in early March, wanting that Mickey quilt. And she was like, and the kid's birthday was like 5 days away. And I'm like, I can't make you a quilt in 5 days. And so I just kind of ignored it because I don't let people put me into those type of bonds where you're contacting me almost when it's time for this party and you want me to make a quilt. It was a friend wanted it for a grandbaby's birthday, turning 1, I think, and they were setting up her room in a Mickey theme. And I just told her she'd have to wait. So she actually got it in June, which wasn't bad. So I think it was June. But yeah, I had to wait until I could even go shopping because I don't buy a whole lot of red and white polka dot or black and white polka dot. I just don't, that's not something I use a lot. And I needed major yardage of that. So I couldn't even do anything until I get to the stores, and all the stores were closed. Except for Joann's, and Joann's is a little bit further away from me, and so since they had all the, what did they call them, like curfews and stuff, I just wasn't going to be bothered with that. It's too far away. I was trying to stay in my neighborhood. So this feels great to be getting this part done. I wonder if Tucker, he finished his quilt top, but he said he was going to add borders. I don't know if he ever added borders to it. He didn't share it anymore in the Teaquilts group. We have had a couple of people on Facebook show. I think we've had 3 people total that have showed what they've done with their Teaquilt swap blocks that we did. Those crazy quilt blocks. One person actually showed what she used with the extra blocks, which I thought was very creative because we made 50 blocks, but I think we only had like 42 or 3, something like that, that participated. And so she made something with the extra blocks, which was nice. So I haven't touched those yet. Too many other projects. So I don't know. So a few more of these, and then I'll read some comments. So my design wall is empty right now because I took all of these blocks off. Oops, I took that pen out too early. We'll just pray it lines up. It's like if you can see a couple of seams that are not lined up out of all of these pieces, you're pretty good. I'm not gonna let it worry me. thing about pins. You put them in, you got to take them out. And they take time to put in, and then you got to stop sewing to take them out. Let's see. Mario says, T, I saw your studio visit video this week and noticed that you have a lot of thread. Do you ever count how many spools of thread you have? No, I have accidentally gotten a lot of thread. Most of the thread that I'm thinking you talking about this room, or you talking about the long arm room. In this room, I've got thread spools on the wall, and I'm trying to reduce down so that I just have this one back over here, or these two back over here. And I'm trying to get rid of all the small spools, so I use those first if I can. I'm trying to take them off the wall over here. Or I may, I don't know, I think they're the same size. No, these are a little bit bigger, because I just really want to use big spools. Excuse me. And then when I go to, like, I used to go to a lot of embroidery classes where you would create stuff. They show you how to do, like, cut work or something like that, and then they would give you, as a sign-up bonus, they would give you thread. So I've got thread on this door that I don't really use. It's like Floriani thread, Robertson Anton, I think is the name of the company. And so I haven't even used those threads. So I'm just trying to use some of the small spools back here so I can get rid of those. Because I don't really buy small spools anymore, but you know, once you buy something, it seems like it's hard to get rid of. And I would never, the only thread I keep track of as far as what I have in stock is my long arm thread. And that's because I know when I need to buy more. So that's the only reason I keep track of that. T, are you doing enough? T, you are doing enough sewing for 10 people. That's funny. Yeah, and it's funny because I think some of us, we're handling our 2020 in different ways. And I know I've got a lot of quilt friends that haven't sewed a stitch, saying that they just can't sew. And then I've got other ones, same quilters, who haven't sewn a stitch, but they're like purging their homes of stuff. So they're doing spring cleaning all year ever since we've been in this situation since mid-March. So people are handling this pretty differently. I just haven't even had time to choose what I was going to do because I have been so busy since this all started. When I thought all of my stuff was canceled, that I wasn't going to have anything to do, I don't even have time to edit videos, and I have to decide if I want to sew or if I want to edit a video. And most times I'll choose sew because I prefer to get some me time in. And when I'm doing all the other stuff, that's like I feel like I'm still at work working, and I've already worked 10-12 hours a day. So I do try to pick sewing over editing a video. But yeah, I've been busier than ever. Just all in how we handle it. She said, yes, t-shirt. Okay, pretty cool. And she says, I will have to figure out how to post, not on Facebook or Insta. Oh, okay, I didn't realize that. So I don't think you can post anywhere then if you're not on either one of those, other than just emailing me so I can see it. That'd be pretty cool. Susan T says, I pray a lot of things. I pray that a lot things will line up. Yes. She's talking about when I was talking about that pen. Diane says you have to keep that propped up, Carrie. She's talking about Carrie's leg. And then she said this keyboard has a mind of its own tonight. I meant Facebook or Instagram. I know what you meant. No, but that's the I don't count my embroidery thread. I have not bought embroidery thread in years. Just because when my friend passed a few years back, I got her thread as well. So I had a whole lot of the little spools, and so I've been like condensing them down, and I still got one container right here that's got, this right here is a container. You can't see it because it's clear right here. This right here, you see this red? That's the last container of thread that I got from her. So I'm just trying to get rid of stuff, and then I can get rid of that thread container. I have a friend that likes to store her thread in, and I'm just going to give them to her because I don't want it. It's just one more thing I got to find a place for, so I've been trying to use it up. I need to clip this. It's getting a little bulky back here. I also machine quilted somebody's row by row quilt last month, and I thought it would motivate me to do a row. I still haven't done a row, but you know, I got so much quilting to do with this stuff, so I need to just stay focused on what I need to do. And then I also said I was going to do the Cleopatra, so we'll just keep going with what I said I'm going to do. I can't add anything else in. And then I want to sew a little special project, and hoping some of you all will do it too, so it'll be fun. I got to find some, I got to figure that one out and get some supplies out for that one. But it's going to be a minute before I get through with this, so I still got pieces out for the pineapple quilt. I got to put all of that stuff up, because I'm not going to sew another pineapple block for a while just because I need to do something else. I can't sew this block anymore. So I do have some other ideas on what I want to do for my lecture, but it's just going to have to wait. Gonna have to wait. Make sure my ends meet. I don't have that many more to do. 4 more pairs here. This off before it gets too bulky. Okay. Hey guys, welcome to people you're coming into the room. I'm just doing sewing chat today, sewing on my pineapple blocks, sewing them into pairs for those that are coming in late. Winsprinter says, does thread have a shelf life? Yes, it does. But I don't go by the years. I actually test my thread by doing the break test. And if it doesn't break, if you're just slightly putting tension on the thread like this, it's still some good. If the thread breaks, then it's not any good. That's how I test my threads. And Diane 57 goes, yes, but nobody knows what that is. She's talking about the thread shelf life. That is funny. But yes, but you can always do the thread test because they don't put an expiration on the thread. And so I won't throw away thread that is good, but I will get rid of thread. If you're machine piecing and the thread keeps just breaking and it's driving you nuts, then I would throw it away. So that's one way. Also, long arm machines, if the thread is bad, it's going to constantly break. But you can still do that thread test on all types of threads. And if that thread pops, then you know that thread's no good. I just Googled Cleopatra block, and it looks just gorgeous but difficult. Yes, and it's like I ain't ready to do that one quite next, but we'll do something else a little bit easier. Susan says, I figured that thread that is 30 years old is too old. Well, my thread is not 30 years old. I might have some thread that's 30 years old, like hand quilting thread, which is, I probably could pitch that because I don't think I'm ever hand quilting again in my life. But what I do sometimes do with it is I use it for gathering, or I'll use it when I'm doing the hexagon stuff where you're doing the tacking of the corners of your millefeuille type quilts like that. But so I do keep it, but I have no intentions of hand quilting ever again in my life. Don is asking, T, what kind of batting will you use? Probably a 80-20 or 100% cotton, whatever I got available. Mostly for my quilts, I tend to use 100% cotton, but I purchased some 80-20 that I've been trying to test out, and I really like it, and so I've been using it for a while. I'm getting notifications popping up, guys. Let's see. I must have missed something. Hold on. That was the batting question. Vivian says, T, I am going to do another pineapple block after I finish another pineapple quilt. After I finish this quilt. I think Vivian is here just to confuse me today. That sounds like 3 pineapple things going on. That is funny. And Winsprinter is asking, how can you test thread before using it in a project? And I just thought I just talked about that, so I'm just going to keep going. She says, thank you. What weight thread do you piece with? That's from Don. I use a 53 ply. I think, yeah, 53 ply. It is actually Superior Thread's Masterpiece. And basically, I just find a good value thread that's on a cone. So I buy the bigger cone, and there's cones bigger than this, but I just tend to buy it when I'm at a quilt show because I can get it for cheaper anyway, because I'll use my business license to get a discount on it. But I just use bigger spools instead of buying regular size spools, because you get more thread on the larger cones at a cheaper price per yard of thread. Carrie says she's been doing counted cross-stitching, hand embroidering, and trying hand at thread painting. That sounds interesting, the thread painting. Susan says, try oiling older thread. Saw this on YouTube, and some swear by it. I've not tried it yet. I have used like Sewer's Aid and stuff on thread, like when I'm doing metallic threads and stuff like that. But I haven't used it to save a spool of thread per se, because I haven't had to save a spool. Most times if I'm using a purple thread, I got 2 or 3 spools of purple thread that might match similar to that, so I'll just move on. But that's a good suggestion too. Shirley Wiltshire is here. She says, that's how I test mine. I have some that is over 20 years old. If it doesn't pop when pulling it, I use it. And that is so true. You don't have to throw thread away just because it's 30 years old. So you just need to test it. So, you know, sometimes things that are well made, you got some cheap brands of thread. I know that at times there was like these little thread kits that had these wooden spools, and they were real skinny, and I can't remember where they are now. And they weren't the best quality thread. They was like fraying as you were looking at them. So no, they're not going to last for 20 years. But most name brand thread is going to last you a while, and that's probably why there is no expiration on the packaging per se. It's just on a case-by-case basis. Lisa says, I have some thread that was my mom's and grandmother's on wooden spools, and I got some on wooden spools too. And I just tested. If it works, I'll use it. If not, And I had those given to me by somebody else that was purging. I just go through and do the thread test on them. If it works, it works. If it don't, I pitch it. But I have been collecting the wood spools. I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but I just think we should never throw a wood spool in the trash. So I just been keeping those as well. Graham says, I have a lot of Sherlock overlock thread. I need a stand for it. I don't necessarily use overlock thread to piece with, although you can. I just, but a lot of people even use overlock thread to machine quilt on their long arms with. I've never tried it, but you can. Dee Dee says, never say never. I have been keeping it propped up. Oh, Carrie's talking to Mary. Ellen Campbell says, I keep thread that's on wooden spools, the old ones for decorating only. And it's amazing. That thread is some good thread. It still works. Try it. See if it pops. If it pops, then just keep it as that type of thread. But I've been using it for like hand sewing bindings on. I don't put small spools on my machine, but I will use it for hand applique or sewing my bindings on my quilt. So I don't pitch it. Don says, I use 80-20-20 batting too. Lietta says she likes 80-20 batting. Can you folks recommend a good source for tie quilting? I don't know. I had bought a lot of ties. I was going to do a tie quilt, and then I washed them, and then they all got all tangled up, and so they just went into a container. I'm thinking about pitching it because I'm not going to untangle all that. And I don't think they were like mostly silk ties. I think I just happened to come across a lot of them that were polyester or something. So I don't know. But that's one of those things when I start purging in my basement, I'm going to decide if I'm going to keep those or not. Jordan Fabrics has on tying quilts. Okay, so she's saying tying quilts. Jordan's Fabrics has a tutorial on tying quilts. And that's what when Sprinter was looking for. And Carrie says that she loves bamboo batting, and that's what I was telling you all last time. I have a video where we were in a live on a Wednesday, but I think I got batting in the title of it. So if you just search Teaquilts and batting, maybe it'll come up. But we talked about the different types of battings and when you might want to use one over the other, because you don't necessarily sew 100% of the time with the same type of batting. Sometimes it just depends on what your outcome is. If it's going to be a tote bag, maybe you might want to use something else. If it's going to be a wall hanger, you might want to use something else. If it's a baby quilt, you may want to use something else. So it just depends on what it is that you are using. I've been using 100% polyester batting because it was given to me when I purchased my long arm, 2 rolls of it for somebody that don't use polyester batting. And so every time I did a charity quilt, I was getting rid of that polyester batting, and I think I still got enough to do another 1 or 2 or 3 quilts with the polyester batting. So I'm still in the process of trying to get rid of that because I don't want to throw it away. Can you imagine 2 full rolls of polyester bat just down the drain? And I feel like even though it was given to me with the long arm purchase, I still feel like I paid for it because the long arm cost so much, you know? So I don't want to put my money in the trash can. Trying to stay dehydrated here. I mean hydrated, not dehydrated. I feel like I'm dehydrated today for some reason, even though I get my liquids in. But today I've been drinking a lot more water for some reason. It seems like the more I drink, the more I want. So I feel like that's telling me I need more. Last pair here. That's pretty cool. And And so I'll go ahead and pin some of these other ones that I pressed maybe. If we don't have anything going on in the chat. Oh, I keep feel like something is over here moving, and it's the screensaver on the sewing machine. It's making me paranoid. Carrie says, I agree with you, T. I use different battings according to the project. Lisa says, when is a good time to use bamboo batting? I keep looking at it. What do you like about it, Carrie? So she's asking that of Carrie. Vivian says, I'm on the East Coast and I'm going to bed. Bye, Vivian. we haven't been on an hour yet. Kevin the Quilter goes, I'm tardy for the party, T. Couldn't get off the phone tonight. Hey, Teaquilters. That's all from Kevin. Vivian saying good night. Good night, Vivian. I use poly when I want loft. And that's when I'll use an 80-20 because the 80-20 will put some loft in up under it too. Carrie says, I live in hot and humid South Texas. It's definitely a cooler batting. Yes. Kathleen says, I'm back, kids, in and out, laughing out loud. Yeah. So we're going to see if I can start pinning these together. Maybe. We'll see. Just trying to make sure that I have some spacing in between the stuff that's touching. Otherwise, I'm just going to put it together as long as it's not right next to it. It can be the same color. That's okay. Because I used a whole lot of all the colors. You just don't want it to be the same fabric. So, let me take off my charger. See if I can prop this phone up and I can see the chat comments. I don't know if Lisa's asking about bamboo batting or cotton batting. Does it, or the 80-20, does it shrink like cotton? I don't think anything's going to shrink like cotton 100%. That's 100% cotton if you've got some poly in it. But it will give it some loft. So it's going to have some shrinkage, I'm assuming, but not like cotton. And I know I did like I did a test on for you all on cotton batting where I measured my quilt top. I told you all the measurements before I quilted it. I told you all the measurements after. No, it was cotton with wool. I measured the quilt top before I quilted it. I measured it after I quilted it, and then I washed it. I had 100% cotton on the bottom and 100% wool on top, and then I gave you all the measurements. So it was pretty interesting. It was like within 4 inches total every time for each, you know, for the whole quilt. It only moved like 4 inches total from quilting, because if you all don't know, quilting also shrinks your quilt. A lot of people don't think about that. When you're making a quilt for a bed and you're trying to be precise, you need to make it just a little bit bigger so that your quilting doesn't take up space that you weren't planning for. Oops, I lost my pen somewhere. I had it in my hand. It's back there. It's like, come up here. Mario's still liking these colors. Diane's laughing at me, talking about the killer sewing machine. You got that right. I got all of you all as witnesses, all 116 of you, okay? You can tell what happened. T, did you ever get new glasses? These are new glasses. And then I also have a pair of, can't remember if they're blue or purple. I think they're purple. I can't remember. The purple ones I actually got first, and I was wearing them at one point. And then I have since got the black ones. These are my everyday glasses. I got the purple or blue ones, whatever color they are, because I wanted fun glasses too. So just trying to make sure I'm not touching any fabrics. Just takes a little minute to look at it. And then once I sew it together, I'm going to see the two fabrics touching. You know how that is. But I got so many fabrics in here that it won't, if it does happen, it won't happen often. Jada says, beautiful pineapple blocks tea. Thank you. Leetta Bryan says she also likes wool batting. Ellen says, how do you repair a pineapple quilt with minor damage? I don't do quilt repairs, but if I were, I probably would just applique a piece right over the top. I would not be trying to machine piece it into there. I would just hand applique right over the top. I do not do that type of work. I don't like mending, so I'm not going to be a person to repair quilts. Now, if it's my quilt and I'm using it on the bed, it's a bed quilt, I'll just put me a fun applique over the top, like a heart or a star or whatever. You know, I'll make it easy for myself. And then I'll just stitch that down. So I'm not having to worry about being precise. But it just depends. If it's an antique, you just want to try to get a piece of fabric that's as similar as you can come across to make sure that, you know, it's keeping with that color theme and the time period. So sometimes you can't find the exact fabrics, but you got something that looks a little bit similar. So and I would only do something like that for myself. I wouldn't do it for anybody, and I wouldn't even do it trying to charge somebody, because they couldn't pay me to do that. They don't want to pay me to make a quilt from scratch, let alone make one, do a repair on one. So I'm not the repair girl. Don says, do you pre-wash to help with shrinkage? Nope. I used to years ago, but fabrics are so well made that I don't personally feel like they shrink that much. I think what's shrinking is the batting. I don't think that the fabric is really doing the shrinking. Fabrics are so well made now. I just don't think we have to. And then certain colors like that will run, then I will do that if I'm having issues with it. But you can also do tests on that to see if certain colors like red, navy blue, maybe a dark green will run. But I don't even pre-wash anymore. And I've done blocks where I've had fabric from my stash that's old as I've been quilting. And then I've had new fabric and put them all in the same quilt, and I don't see any difference or any problem. So it's just, you do what you want on that. You know, you got some people that won't touch a piece of fabric unless it's been pre-washed. That used to be me. I spent a lot of money pre-washing fabric soon as it came in my house. And I just don't do it anymore. I found that even mixing the two, it didn't matter. So now, if you're one of those people that have issues with the scents from the factory and stuff like that, then you may have to be one of those people that have to wash all your fabric when it comes in. But I don't have that issue. Linda says, just watching tonight, T. It's been too hot to do much. Our high today was 113. Oh my gosh. And even at this hour, it's 103. That is hot. Wow. Kevin says, what have you been working on, Leetta? He's talking to Leetta. Graham says, I recut G on my pineapple quilt to black. Will I need to recut E to black as well? No. If you're doing, I don't know. She says I recut G. I don't know. Let's see. A, B, C, D, E, and E, and then F, and F, and G. So G is where I already have the black at. I don't understand why you would have to make E black as well. G is where the black already is in the pattern. So I don't understand unless you put the wrong alphabets. I don't think I looked at this. Hold on. See, this is too close. The purple polka dot, which is a zinger. Sometimes if I have a fabric that's really bold and stands out, even if it's not touching, I don't want it like in the next piece above the one that it wouldn't touch. So I'm kind of looking at that kind of stuff too, but it's not critical. If it was the last two blocks available, I would sew them together, but since it's not, I got choices, I'm using my choices. So G is where the black is, so I don't understand your question. And I don't understand why you would have to make E black too, because I did not. Carrie is saying that bamboo batting is more durable than cotton or wool batting. I don't know anything about bamboo batting, so I can't speak on that. I have not personally used it. And Susan says, Linda, that's really hot. I hope it goes away soon. Yes, indeed. You wouldn't be able to step outside for that. Thinking of outside, my husband did finally he put my seat on for me today or yesterday. So maybe I'll get to test drive my seat one of these days. I thought about it today, but I decided to sleep in. They actually got a carnival. Can you believe that they got a carnival that's about 4 blocks from my house? It's in another subdivision, but they've decided to have a carnival. My husband had to go out tonight, and he said he drove through, and it is jam-packed. And then my mother is talking about, I normally have Labor Day at my house. And my mom was saying, I told them you weren't going to have Labor Day. I said, no, because these people won't act right. Then you go to the carnival and then you want to come to my house. No. No. Absolutely not. And the carnival is there all weekend. Dawn says your glasses look really good. Thank you. They're a little bit bigger than what I wanted. They didn't really have what I wanted in the store, but I just had to purchase some glasses anyway. I don't normally get my glasses this big. I get them like right there. Just because I have astigmatism, and the smaller my frame, the easier it is. But they told me that this wouldn't be a problem, so I went ahead and got them. Still don't want to use that one yet. This one can go. Jane Morrison says, hi, hit the thumbs up button for our girl. Thank you so much, Jane. Appreciate that. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe. For those that are coming in, I still see the numbers are going up. I am just pinning. I've sewn all of my pineapple blocks into pairs, and now I'm sewing them into what I call great blocks, or you can call them giant blocks. So I'm just sewing like a big 4-patch now, just to I'm in what I call piece reduction. I started with 100 blocks. Now I have 50 units that I'm messing with. So I feel really good about where I'm at. I'm in reduction mode. I started needing 3,700 pieces. So I'm glad to see that I'm on the down end of this project, okay? So once I sew them into these blocks, I may lay out row by row or something like that to see what I'm going to do. But I haven't decided that part yet. It just depends if I get a good day where I can go outside and use my deck. Otherwise, I'll just keep sewing and just trying not to have pieces touch. I got quite a few fabrics in here, so it's doable without me having to lay any of this quilt out. But we're just making blocks right now. So pinning takes a little while. And I'm reading comments. So Kathy Packler says, I love your energy. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. I'm just trying to make sure no massive things are happening here. Interesting about thread, I was watching Deb Canham, a baby lock educator, who said the reason thread is a perfect match in garments is because they make the garments and then dye them. So there you go. I used to make all of my clothing at one point when I first started sewing. That's when it was cheaper to sew, and now that is not so true. So yeah, you actually spend more making a garment than you will if you outright bought it. So and God forbid I get back into garment sewing and it's like, oh my God, where am I gonna store that? I think I got one container of fabric that I kept because it was like some of my favorite. It was a piece of red wool that I kept. Red's one of my, is my favorite color actually. It's not just one of them, but it is my favorite color. And I just wouldn't part with it because it cost quite a bit of money and I liked it. And then when I got into quilting and realized that I could felt it if I wanted to, so I've held on to that. I've got a few pieces that I really like that I kept, but I haven't made a thing in clothing in years. Leetta says, I'm putting the binding on your 2-color quilt, Kevin. Jackie says, if I sewed this late at night, I would have my stitch ripper in hand more than sewing. I normally use my seam ripper more with you guys. I don't tend to make too many mistakes when I'm sewing. My mistakes sometimes happens where I sew the wrong side of the fabric. And then if I'm doing a scrap quilt and the value still works, I just leave it in there and keep going. But on these pineapples, it was really hard for me to talk to you guys and sew because I had to put certain values in certain positions. And then I look up and I've sewed the value to the wrong side, you know. So it was pretty funny. But I use my seam ripper more with you guys than without. My seam ripper mostly gets used in my long arm because I'm pulling out stitches that it made bad, you know. But gotta do what we gotta do. was telling you all that I can't sew with you all. I don't know how I'm doing sewing chats. Kept having to use my seam ripper, but I think it was just the block itself. You need total concentration for this quilt. See, 2 more pins and then I'll read comments. I don't think I'm too far behind, but I could be. Well, I'm 12 minutes behind, so I am behind. Let me stop and read some comments after this one. Because I do know if I get too far behind, it won't let me go back and get them. So, let's see. Bamboo batting may be a good choice for my son who likes icicles in his bedroom. Regina says, hi T and all, stuck in the line at Hobby Lobby watching Miss T. That is funny. I haven't been to Hobby Lobby, Michael's, or Joann's since this whole ordeal started. Ain't that something? This past week, somebody who knows I make masks asked me if I would alter her store-bought mask. I said, I'm sorry, but I do not do alterations. Exactly. I love your green and brown version, Lietta. That's Kevin. It used to be that fabrics weren't made the same or dyed the same. Hit Joe, they are pretty universal, so it's not as important as it used to be to pre-wash. I think she has some keyboard help there, but we know what she means. I'm like, I can't believe somebody would buy a mask and ask you to alter it, though. Night all. This is from Patricia. Says, too tired to keep my eyes open tonight. Good night. Take care. Alicia Moat says, what size will be the quilt that you're working on? It's going to be 100 inches square. Kayla is here. She says, hello, everyone. Happy to join in a little late. We'll have to rewatch the replay. Welcome. Good for you, Mary. She could buy a new mask from you for less money than I took for an alteration. You got that right, because people don't understand that it takes longer to alter something like that than it do to make a whole new mask. That's just crazy. Rich Mitch is here saying, hello, everyone. What have I stumbled across here? Jada is leaving. Good night. Lietta says, it's graduation present for my nephew. The quilt she's working on. And Mary says, there go the COVID numbers in St. Louis. It ain't gonna be me, I'm telling you right now. Kayla says, I have a bamboo and a cotton blend batting on a quilt on my bed. It is light for summertime. So that's good to know too. Susan says, good night from me. Late here in PA. Thanks everyone for a lovely time. Good night, Susan. I probably have missed a lot of these people. Elwin says, that black is just stunning in this quilt. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I wanted to make sure that all the colors pop. And so one way of making sure that colors pop when you're using another color as your focus, because the black is really my focus fabric, is you don't want to use fabrics that have a lot of black in it. Now I do have some fabrics that have black in them, but I made sure it was kind of far away from where my black focus pieces were going to be, or the majority of that print was a different color, not necessarily black. It could have been a black background, but by the time I cut a 1.5 inch piece and then sew it and it finishes at 1 inch, it wouldn't show a lot of the black. So I was real careful about the fabrics that I chose to put into this quilt to make sure that that black continued to pop. Regina says, too, your blocks are really looking good. Thank you, Regina. Diane says, me too, T. I made all my clothes too. Teresa says, I love the name with reduction. It's encouraging. Yes, and that's why I use it. I'm like, it feels so good. I was like, I was 3,700 pieces at the start, and now I'm at, 50. That feels awesome. Yes. Wakanti says, haha, who would know anyway? You got that right. She's talking about when I said I used the wrong side of the fabric. there were certain quilts that I used to remember where was the wrong piece of fabric so that I could prove to people doing lectures that you can't tell. And then it got to the point where I couldn't even find them anymore. It's like, it was pretty funny. It took me forever to find the wrong side of a piece of fabric for somebody. But it just blends right in. It doesn't work. Lietta said, I made a lot of my clothes too. Yes, she did. Phyllis G said, T, those blocks are bright and cheerful. Thank you, Phyllis. Don says, I hear you on not doing repairs because we have sewing machines. Everyone wants me to hem pants, fix buttons, fix zippers, etc. Nope, no more. And I never got into the repair business for other people. The only person I would do it for would be my mom. And that was because if I didn't do it, I was going to have to pay for it anyway because I take care of most of her surplus stuff. So I go ahead and do it for her. But anybody else asks me about repairs, I just, go to a tailor. That's what they're there for. They're the experts. Apparently, they like to do it. So they want to pay us a couple dollars to hem their pants, but you don't want to pay the tailor $20, $30 to hem your pants. Go to the experts. Let them do it. Yeah, it's a skill. Sin Forrest is here saying, Heidi ho, T and everyone. I'm late but here, laughing out loud. Hi, Sin. Welcome. Teresa says, I did a search online for jumbo clips, wonder clips without the wonder. China has them. Has anyone had experience ordering from there lately? I have not ordered anything from them since this whole episode. I have been hearing from other people in groups that it's just taking a lot longer for some products to get in from certain sellers, so it just depends. You have no control over it. It could be held up in customs. It could be U.S. Customs, because Customs is letting stuff sit too. So you just have no control over when you're actually going to get it. And San's also saying gorgeous blocks. Thank you so much. Loretta says hi, T and all. Hi, Loretta. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Can you make aprons? Am interested for a friend. I guess we could make aprons, yes. That was at 10:17. So I'm getting closer to the end of chat, guys. That's good. I don't sew for the public. That's Diane57. Said, did you have to cut all those threads first? Did you have to cut all those threads first? I don't know what she's talking about when you say threads. I haven't cut any threads. What are you talking about? Explain a little bit more. Are you talking about cut these pieces, or are you talking, I don't know why I would be cutting threads. I mostly chain piece, so I never have to cut threads. Cindy Delford is here saying hi to everyone. Welcome. Mary says, my daughter has made lots of cosplay costumes, but she is taking a quilting class at her college, and she's finding out about 1/4 inch seam allowance, precision piecing, etc. Yes, and that's the part when you sew clothes and you're using 5/8 inch seam and then to go down to 1/4 inch, it's a total difference. Keeping that on, keeping that straight and all. And certain things like big 4 patches, if they're huge, it doesn't matter as much as if they're a tiny 4 patches. Then it matters a whole lot. So yes. You can make aprons. Wendy Doan, Jenny Doan is what she really means, has a tutorial on making aprons. Lisa, that's a great idea. Thank you. She says, my back looks threads. I'm thinking that she's saying, like, she's seeing the back of my blocks and there aren't a lot of threads, and have I clipped threads? No. I put sizing in my quilt blocks that kind of helps to keep some of the thread fraying down. It doesn't stop it, but I have not clipped any threads on the back of my blocks. They're just how the pieces were cut. I sewed them, I pressed them, and I'm sewing again, and I have not done anything with the threads on the back. I haven't clipped any extra threads. I haven't had a need to. Y'all so funny. Totem says, Missouri Star Quilt Company and Jordan Fabrics both have apron tutorials. So I guess I got Gramps' question right now. She says, okay. So that's it. Um, yeah, I haven't trimmed anything on the back. That's just how my fabrics are. Like, I've got little stragglies, like right here. You can see those where they fray. But that's about all that I get as far as fraying. I don't get a whole lot of fraying on my pieces. But you can't stop it 100%. You can just, reduce it a little. And I think how you handle your stuff may make it fray a little bit more. I try to keep them as straight as I can too. So yes. Carrie is back. I think I'm going to pin this one. I still got quite a few to pin, but I have the other stack that I haven't pressed those seams yet, but I think I'm going to go ahead and start sewing these into the giant blocks just so you can see it. So I'll do this last one. I'm not even sure how many I've done. But I'm glad with my current position on this quilt. Mary says even the back is pretty. What starch do you use? I have a video on the different types of starches. I use all of them depending on what I'm doing. But right now I had bought some Best Press because it was at a good price. And so I'm currently using that. I'm trying to find what is it, gin, to make my starch with, and I haven't been able to find one that doesn't have potato in it in the grocery store. So, and I have not been to a liquor store. That's not some place I visit or frequent. So I need to go to a liquor store, but I keep forgetting to do that. So yeah, so let's see how many. 2. I got 8 of them done. I still got a stack of them ready to go, but we'll go ahead and sew these 8. And all of my pins are falling, which means I'm going to have some on the floor because I forgot to pick them up before I move the stack. Trying to make sure I catch up with you guys. Graham said, I'm going to bed now. Good night. Good night. For those that are leaving, good night. We still got a half hour more, but if you're leaving, thank you all so much for watching. Appreciate you spending time with us. Lisa says, Lordy, Miss T, those blocks just are gorgeous. Thank you so much. Mary says, when you held the blocks up, they look like stained glass. Just gorgeous. Thank you. What's in the liquor store besides booze? I missed it. Getting some product for my homemade starch. I need some. Is it gin or vodka? Vodka doesn't have starch. That's what I'm looking for. Doesn't have starch. Doesn't have potatoes in it. Uh-oh. I'm doing a zigzag stitch. Let me cut this off and cut this back on. I must have hit something on this screen. Take this out. I just don't want it to hit the foot. Okay. Find my seam ripper. I just don't want any major issues here. Knock my whole machine out of timing, because I'm sewing with a 1/4 inch foot with a little dot hole, and it had the nerve to do some zigzagging. Like, no, it was just small enough that it stayed in that hole. Thank goodness. I was lucky. I guess when I was putting the pieces over the top of the machine, one of the pins must have hit the screen. Take those zigzag stitches out. I probably could have got away with it, but you all got to see me use my seam ripper. Put the next one on just so you all can see this one. Oops, gotta get the pin. All right, just to start this one. Okay. And then we can see the block now. And I'll have to fold this back. So this is what we're going for. I can't see, so hopefully it's showing. And you can see all of it. But yeah, so that's the goal. I need 25 of these. And I need to start another stack, I guess. Let's see where my phone is. I'm losing stuff. Oh, I put it all the way up there, out of position. I gotta go back. Hold on. Lisa says, hope you got shoes on, T. That's when I was dropping pins. Yes, I do. I have shoes on, but I have stepped in a pen. I guess I'm used to it. My husband, he steps on a pen, and it's like, holy cow, I got to take him to the ER or something. I guess I gotten used to it. Carrie says, I use either Best Press or I make my own Quilter's Moonshine. Wynn says, are there any circumstances where it would make sense to use a serger when quilting? Some people have made quilts using the serger. They even got a quilt that's called a serger quilt. I remember I was teaching that in when I was teaching at the sewing center. They always come up with something so that they can get you to buy another piece of equipment. So I was making a quilt on a serger. And it was like a quilt as you go, because you had your backing, top, and batting, and the way you put it together, you were just making columns as you went across the quilt. So you can use it if you want. Kim Burris is here saying hi, TNT Quilters. I'm late tonight. Hi, Kim. Welcome. I got to take care of Augie Bear. He's drinking water from the bowl now. That's good. That was fast. Got to take him out, though. Diane says, good night, everyone. Bye, Diane. Edwin, some people use sergers to put blocks together. Some people serge around their quilts before they put the binding on. That's from Mary. Sin says, Kim, you're not only tardy baby tonight. You're not the only tardy baby tonight. She's laughing because she came in a little bit before you, Kim. A lot of people saying good night to Diane. Saying the block is beautiful. Mary, that's pretty, from Kim. June Hanson, that's beautiful. Carrie Dottie T, is that the pineapple pattern that's in your store on your website? Yes, it is. Amazing, love it from Sins. Wynn says gorgeous. Mary says you're welcome, Wynn. And Carrie says I love to make pineapple blocks and variations of pineapple quilts. Yes, and that's what I'm trying to do, is do different variations for a quilt lecture whenever we start back having quilt lectures. But I figured now would be a good time to develop another lecture because we're basically homebound. So that's why I'm making so many different pineapple quilts. I do have some other things I want to do pineapple wise, but I'm going to have to take a break because after doing 3 sets of pineapple blocks, I need a break. Like, this is set number 2. I'm gonna let set number 3, the blocks are all done. I'm gonna just let it sit for a while before I put that together. I'm gonna take a break and work on some other stuff because I just want some different pieces to look at right now. So Teresa says gorgeous. Don says, does the pattern use the AccuQuilt die? I wrote the pattern 2 ways for you to cut. The first way I wrote it was for people that have the die because that's exactly what I use. So I wrote it for those people first. And then I have a second set of cutting instructions for people that want to use templates. And I've included the templates. I cut them in cardstock, 300 GSM cardstock. Very thick, that I use in my paper crafting to make card backs. So it's really thick. And I cut them on that and put those inside of the pattern. Carrie says, wow, T, your piecing is just perfect. I only make them using foundation paper piece. And I told people that if I didn't have AccuQuilt cutting all the angles for me, I would probably foundation piece too, but I have not done that. But I have, pineapple is just another log cabin style block for people that don't know that. And I have done log cabins, like miniature ones, in paper piece, and I kind of like that. But my big log cabin quilts, I just straight piece those. Especially if they're bigger than a piece of paper, it's just easier for me to just go ahead and piece them. But when they're tiny, I really like to paper piece my units. But yes. To pull this up here so I can sit my phone up. Oh, and Dawn says that she do have the AccuQuilt die. So that's it's even faster if you've got the AccuQuilt die because all of your angles are cut and everything lands in the right position. For those that got the AccuQuilt die, I do recommend that you sew with a 1/4 inch seam, not a scant and not any bigger, because those pieces are made for 1/4 inch seams, not for a scant. I tested it on my first quilt back there just to let you guys know, and I still use the block. I just had to pin and ease it in, but that block was the pieces wouldn't line up when I first started sewing if I sewed a scant 1/4 inch. So just make sure you sew your seams correct. So I got a little bit more sewing done tonight than I did last week, which was good. Not that I don't like chatting, but I did get some sewing done, so I feel really good now because I got less than 50 pieces. I'm getting closer to 25. Yay! I'm probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 pieces when I sew these. But and Kim's also reminding everybody to hit the thumbs up button. Thank you all so much for coming tonight. I'm going to still sew for about another 23 minutes. Sew and chat for 23 minutes. We tend to end at 11 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's a little bit late for the people on the East Coast. Sam is showing she's got her thumbs up. Thank you so much. Sprinter says, do you sew large pieces of batting together using a zigzag stitch? I presume seaming batting makes no sense and it's wasteful. You never want to seam the batting because it's going to be so thick in that area where you seam. I do use a zigzag. I make it as wide as my machine will go. So I enlarge the width of the zigzag. I also increase the stitch length just a little bit. And then I also use my step zigzag stitch. You have zigzag that's just zigzag like this. And then a step zigzag goes 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then it goes down, so you've got that extra stitch in the batting to help hold it in place. And I have purchased batting tape, but I have never used it. I just go straight to the sewing machine and stitch on it. And I've had that batting tape probably at least a year because I thought that I would test it out just to see if I like it or not. But I'm so old school. I just like just stitching my batting together. So I just stitch it on my sewing machine. Tape is still floating somewhere around by my long arm. And the reason why I probably will use it at some point is if I ever have a customer's batting that's too short and I need to just add a piece on, I can use that tape and just iron it on while it's still on my frame. So that's how I probably will use that. I don't think I'll ever use it to piece my batting. I just like using the step zigzag stitch. These pieces getting big now. These are 20 inches. Let's see. Maddie Barnum says, T, is this quilt real heavy when done? I think quilts with more piecing in them are a bit heavier because you have more layers of seam. So I would say a little bit heavier. Is it going to be extreme? No, I think batting, the old cotton batting, even Warm and Natural, when I started quilting in 1994, Warm and Natural was almost twice as dense as it is now. I have one quilt that is super heavy. That's a bed quilt. I have never used it on my bed. It's always been in a quilt lecture that I do. And I have people come up and I have two people hold those quilts up, hold that quilt up so they can feel how Warm and Natural used to feel. I don't feel like it is as heavy as it was before unless you're putting in 2 bats. And I don't tend to put 2 bats in many quilts. I did it as an experiment for you guys when I did that wool and cotton because somebody wanted me to do it for them. They didn't want to put it in their quilt, so I took the hit for them. And then I did all the statistical stuff on it after that. But I don't think that they're extremely heavier. No. Let's see, let me go back. It jumped on me. Do you so? Lisa says it's 11:37 in Indiana. Hubs is already asleep. You can do that when you're retired. 11:37 is kind of late though. Carrie says, T, beautiful blocks. Thank you. Sin says, I didn't like batting tape too stiff. That's good to know because I haven't used it. I know people were all in such a happy place to have batting tape, but I still haven't used it even when I bought it to try it out. June says, I've tried batting tape. My quilter didn't want to quilt over it. Oh my God, it had a terrible time. Okay, so I probably won't be using that. Use it in something like putting some small pieces together for tote bags or something, but I don't want to put it in no quilts, huh? Okay. Because I'm not 100% sold on it anyway. And that's bad. Carrie says, good night, Teaquilters. This girl is tired. Bye, Carrie, if you're still here. Let's see. Sin says, maybe they've improved it. I tried about 15 years ago. And I bought mine from like Nancy's Notion, so you don't know how long stuff is on the shelf and what's new and what's old, but I'm thinking it's about the same. Maddie says, T, I still have to get that machine light. Yours look bright. Yeah, and you know, when I cut it off, this is my regular light on my machine. That's it. It's a light. Right here is a light. You can see the light in my hand. That's it. That's nothing. And I even got these other lights on to even help it out. If I cut this light off, you can really see how dark. You see that light now? And then when I still got the light that's in front of me, but that light makes such a big difference. So, yeah. I've lost all of the ice out of my water now. No more cold water. And you know what, Maddie? The machine light I actually put on my website the other day. So it's on my website. Teaquilts.com. You can order it from there now. You don't have to do an email anymore. Mary says, I just zigzag mine together too. Her batting, that is. Kayla says, as a novice, I did sew my batting together with a 1/4 inch seam and then opened the seam. I quilted it on a home machine with a stipple without any issues, but I will say zigzag, it's much easier, yes. And then I remember when I first started, how they used to tell you to connect batting, and I did it once or twice just to see. They would tell you to overlap the battings like 1.5 inches, 2 inches, and then you would take your cutter and do like a slight S seam. And then that way when you butted them in, they actually fit right back into each other. And that works well and all, but I just found just straight seaming it in my step zigzag has worked very, very well. So I haven't had any problems. If you've never step zigzag your batting, try that and see how you like that. Because I really like that stitch. Oh, I figured I'm looking at this thread tail. I'm like, why is there a thread tail? That's from the Orfield that I put on my bobbins hanging out of there. It's been 10 years ago for me. If I run out, I just do a long stitch by hand if I'm quilting. And that's how I normally do, is I'll attach it by hand, but I had bought the tape thinking, okay, I'll use the batting tape. But if you all telling me it makes it stiff, then I don't want to use that on somebody's quilt. Maddie says, I like that Warm and Natural. Warm and Natural makes a plush. You know what? I ordered Warm and Natural plush because I found it at Amazon, and it's in my garage. When it came and the truck dropped it off, that I just put it in my garage, and I haven't used it yet. So that's a batting I need to try out. This is my first time using Warm and Plush, and I think it's a white batting if I'm not mistaken. It's not natural. So I may have to try that. Because I'm looking for my old Warm and Natural bat. I want my old batting back. Thank you, Leetta, for the reminder. And I'm like, didn't I order and pay for that? Where is it? But I think that was one that I never let it come in the house. I put it straight in the garage. Mary says, I use mine all the time. Love that light. Yes, this light is awesome. Teresa says Nancy's website is not closing down. Somebody says, I know Missouri Star Quilt Company bought out Nancy's Notions, but I wonder if Nancy's website will close down. I don't think that they have said it's not going to close down before Missouri Star sets up something different. Normally, when you buy a company, you buy rights to all the stuff that goes with it, which means you buy the rights to the name. Probably about knowing that it's an online company, they probably bought the rights to Nancy's Notions website, Nancy's Notions name, and anything else Nancy's Notions affiliated. Because I know when it was owned here by Tacony, which is in St. Louis County, that they still had rights to that website. They were using that website for years. It was sold before Nancy passed. A lot of people did not know that. So, I would say that they'll still probably use some version of Nancy's Notions name. Otherwise, why would they have bought it? You pay a lot for somebody's name. The intrinsic value is it's a lot of money in that. And it seems like Nancy, whoever she did business with, be it her family, it was a family business. I don't know how Nancy ran her business, but those people are on the up and up. So they're going to make sure that they're getting paid no matter what's going on with the Nancy thing. So I don't have any more pinned. I'll just pull these over and pin later. Since we only got like 11 minutes, I'll just spend it in the chat. Unless there are no more chats, but I'm behind right now, so Don says, does anybody know what happened to Pat Sloan Saw where both her arms were in cast? I think she fell, and she's been going through a process of healing. I think they finally gave her release to start back using her rotary cutter like within the past month or so. So it's been a long process. Daniela F. Strum says, hello from far north Queensland, Australia. Welcome. I'm sure it's the middle of the night for you or something. I don't know. Maddie says, Pat fell and broke her wrist. Same thing from Vicky. Same thing from me. June Hansen says, thanks, Teresa. I like her stuff. And Daniela is also saying hello to all. Don says, I went to Nancy's site and got a 404 error message, so I wondered, wow, that's weird. And it could be that they could be working on the site. I know I went to one of my sites where I go in and check out my status of my accounts, and it wouldn't let me up into it and kept giving me an error. So try it again just to see what's going on. Is there, hold on. I was just in Nancy's site. Try again. That's from Teresa. Leetta says, I really like it. She's talking about the warm and plush. So I'm looking forward to trying it now. I got to get it out the garage, get it out the box. I got so many open battings though. I'm trying to reduce some of them. So I'm trying to use what's like almost used up. And so that's where I'm having some issues. And then what happens is when I quilt, just from a Longhorn perspective, and I guess I need to do a video on just this topic. When I'm cutting batting for quilts, like for my quilts, what I do is I'll cut batting for like 10 quilts. And I use my frame to roll the quilt down. If you all know that I use storage under my frame, so I can't put a batting under there. And I used to put my polyester bat under there. And then once I used it all, I just decided I wasn't going to put any more batting. It was more beneficial for me to use it for storage. And so that means I don't have any bat attached to my frame. But what I do is when I go out and pick a batting, then I'll pick like 10 quilt tops that I'll cut batting for, all in one setting. And I use the frame to roll that batting down the frame, and then I'll cut what I need, and then I pull it down and roll it back again down my frame. So I do that for about 10 quilts at one time. So I'm not constantly in and out of my garage getting batting. I just do that once every so often. And then if I need it for a customer quilt, then I have to go get it. But if I'm going out there and get it, guess what? I'm going to go and cut more for me as well during the same time I'm cutting it for that customer, because I'm not going to go get batting just to cut it for one quilt and go through all of that. But that's how I kind of get around not having it actually in my house or having it inside of my house. And then it's in my garage, but I also use bed sheets that you can put your mattresses in when you're moving. I use those to put my batting in, and then I use zip ties to keep it closed so I don't get any bugs in my batting as well. So Daniela says, yes, I love the light too. I desperately need myself. Where's the detail, please, T? I have a website that's teaquilts.com, and then I have a page that says products. The thing for out of country, I would have to be, I put a note on the top, but sometimes people miss it when the shipping is going to be added for USA shipping. And then what I do is I'll get your package already, and then I'll see what it's actually going to cost me to mail to other countries, because I have mailed to Australia and Canada for some of my quilters. And then I just send you another invoice for you to pay just the, or I'll ask you to just send me the, or send you another invoice, however it is. And then I'll ask you to send me the difference, because I think sometimes when I'm sending stuff to Australia, it depends on the weight and the size and things like that. So I can't tell you what something will cost for me to ship. So that's kind of how I handle it, because I won't know until I actually go through the whole customs procedure. And I got to have the product, got to have the weight, you know, the size and the measurements and all of that kind of stuff. So let's see. But my website is www.teaquilts.com, and you can do /products, or you can just click on the products tab when you get to the site. Sin says, there are videos showing how to install the light T. I forget, mine's is still in the box. Yikes. I just used the instructions that came in the box. I felt like they were pretty good. My only recommendation, and I think he says that in the box, like my light is back here. I wish I had put my light up here. And it would have been more closer to my needle. And I put it back too far. I wasn't even thinking about it. It was the first one that I installed. So what I would do is use masking tape or painter's tape and temporarily put it where you want, like on the wires, and not take your sticky protector sheet off, and then make sure it's in the right place and that it's going to shine in the right place. I've had this on here for about 5-6 years now, and it shows no sign of coming off. And the other thing to do, and they tell you this in the thing, 2 things. Make sure you use some alcohol prep, or alcohol on a paper towel, and clean the surface so that you get a good stick, which is the reason why mine is still up here. I alcoholed everything, even where I've got my clips. These are guide clips that's telling my wires where I want them to go. So I got 3 of those on here. 1, 2, 3. And then you have a seam under here where your machine comes apart. You want to make sure that you're not covering your seam. So when you go to take your machine in for service, that your light is not blocking that, because otherwise they're going to have to take your light off, and then you're going to lose the sticky. You're going to have to go buy more 3M tape to put it on. When I take my machine to the shop to get service, I leave my light on, but I just take this part off, take this apart, take this off, and then I leave this and take my machine to the shop. It has never been in the way, has never been a problem for the people to service my machine. Just want to make sure you all know that. This is a dimmer switch. You can choose not to use the dimmer switch. You can pull it out, put it back in, and now your light just comes on. I'm having a hard time pushing it in. I have slight carpal tunnel, guys. But yeah, but you can decide that you don't want to use the dimmer switch, then your light would just come on. So you don't have to use the dimmer switch. I tend to have my light all the way on. So I don't know why I even use the dimmer switch, but I just keep it together anyway. So now let me put it back together so I have all my pieces. Okay. Let me just get this back, because otherwise I'll forget later on if I don't put it back now. Let's see. Next question. And then I also use alcohol all back here where I put my guides as well. I just alcohol the whole entire space because I wasn't sure where I was going to put those clips. It's real easy to install. Uh-oh, I accidentally deleted Mary's message. She was saying Pat was on a walk and stumbled on both arms and had surgery. And sorry about that, Mary. It should be corrected now, I'm hoping. Okay. She says it's 2 p.m. in Australia. Okay. I get confused because sometimes I watch Crafter's Companion and they used to come on at 5 and now they've changed it to 7 a.m. and it was like, I can't get up at 5 a.m. I was missing so many of them. And so I still don't make it at 7 though, because I'm basically going to bed about 4 o'clock. 4 a.m. some days, okay? Because I'm working in the middle of the night. Nancy Bailey says, Missouri Star Cool Company about Nancy's notions. We know. I think they were looking for the website to buy something. And they're going to have some kind of big grand opening to do in March about that. Hopefully, if COVID allows, we'll see how things are going to happen. Thank you, Sin, for putting the website in. My brother says, good night, sis, and everyone stay safe and stay blessed. Good night, sir. See ya. It's 11 o'clock, y'all. Better start getting your good nights in. I'm still reading at like 10:50. I can't see Mary's stuff. Even though I unhid her, it still got her comments hidden. I'm sorry. We won't have any fun if she's hidden, because she has funny stuff she puts in here. I'm trying to figure it out, Mary. I have to look at it later. I unhid you, but it's still saying that you're hidden by me. And it's still doing it. I have to figure it out, Mary. I'm so sorry. Since we're at the end. Rachel McCauley is here saying hello. Yes, she's laughing because we're on our way out. T, why did you hide Mary? Accident. I can't undo it. Great idea. Thanks so much. Maddie says that helps with the light. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're the best, T. Sin. I'm going to another one trying to see if I can unhide Mary. And I unhid her. And it says, I got report, remove, put user in timeout, hide user on this channel, add moderator. Let me see if I just add her as a moderator. Nope, that was Teresa McCormick that had made a moderator. It wouldn't even let me make Mary a moderator. I'm pressing on hers, and it won't do a thing. But went straight to Teresa, though. Let me remove the moderator from Teresa. She doesn't want to be a moderator. And it will not let me do a thing with Mary, even though I unhid her. Okay, so I'll figure that one out. And Teresa saying that's a great tip about light placement. Daniela says 4 different time zones in Australia. I did not know that. I know we've got a few, but I didn't know Australia had as many. That's pretty cool. Elwin says, good night. Enjoyed the relaxing chat. Good night, everyone. Take care. Stay blessed. God bless you all. Teresa says, thank you, T. Good night, everybody, and stay safe. Lisa Peck says, good night, everyone. Learning a lot tonight. Thank you. Blessings and sweet dreams. LaConchi says, thanks. Good night, everyone. So we're going to go ahead and end here. Thank you all so much for participating tonight. If you all got some topics and things we want to talk about while we're doing any of the chats, just let me know. If you're one of those people that don't like to chat publicly, you can send me an email, give me some topics. I'm also taking topics for a Mega Monday polls that I think I'm going to start adding on YouTube. So if you got some poll questions you're wondering about what percent of quilters do this or that, you can email those to me too. That's at teaquilts@teaquilts.com. So I try to keep everything Teaquilts so that it's real simple and easy to remember. So teaquilts@teaquilts.com. My website is www.teaquilts.com. Facebook page is Teaquilts LLC, but it's still, you'll find it with just Teaquilts. Instagram is Teaquilts as well. So thanks, everybody. We're going to go ahead and end here. I'll see you all Wednesday. That chat starts at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Bye.